we are on. Just make sure everybody's on here.
All right, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. All right, we would like to start off by giving all honor and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kamadash.
a double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone who grew well, and peace and blessings to the house of David the elect. All right, we out of GMS Mississippi Camp. All right, I'm going to give the floor over to Priest of Bayou.
All right, Khan. Yeah. So today's topic is actually going into the Notebook and spiritual dementia. Now, you've seen that movie, The Notebook. It's actually about a love story, okay, about this aged couple. All right, and as the wife or the female got old, what happened? She got dementia. So every day, her husband would go into the nursing home and read this notebook. Now, what was contained in the notebook was their love story. So he was reading this notebook to her every day to assist her with getting her memory back. Now, towards the end of the movie, what happened? She did get her memory back. I'm gonna leave it at that. So this lesson is actually symbolic for us, all right? Because according to Jeremiah 62, you know, we are the woman of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Okay? Get Jeremiah 62.
Jeremiah 62.
Right.
I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
Right, the daughter of Zion is also known as what? The nation of Israel. Symbolic talk. So we are likened, all right? We are just like a beautiful woman to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Again, we get that, all right? Now, the notebook is what? For this lesson, symbolic for the Holy Scriptures. Somebody get Revelation 10:8. Okay?
Revelation 10.
Yeah, Revelation 10:8.
All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 10, verse 8. And it says, "And the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again, and said, Go and take the little book."
Take the little book. What's the little book? The Holy Scriptures. The notebook. That spiritual notebook. All right, so the Most High utilized Scriptures, our notebook, to do what? To get us out of that demented state. Okay, go ahead, brother.
And it says, and he said, so like it says, Go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth.
That's it. So, key point, that little book. My brother get dementia.
This is dementia from Edmund Online. It says extremely low condition of mental function.
Right, extremely low condition of a mental function. All right. Now, when you go into that origin of dementia, it means to be away from your mind. All right. From a spiritual standpoint, the Most High gave us that spiritual dementia. Why? Because we went off. All right, and we needed this notebook. All right, in order to remember ourselves. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, should discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee.
Us as a nation, even the prophets. So we had to disconnect from what? Our heritage. All right, go ahead.
That will cause thee to serve the enemies of the land which thou knowest not.
And this is a form of what? Spiritual dementia. Okay, now since you said there, get your will to 21.
So look at Joel 2 verse 21. It says, "Fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice."
No, it's like my man. Jeremiah 2:21. It's like that's my man.
It's Jeremiah 2 and 21. It says, "Yet I have planted thee a noble vine."
So our entire nation was planted to be the righteous. All right, but at this time frame, only your land. Go ahead.
Holy and right seed.
Holy and right seed. Go ahead.
How there art thou turned into the degenerate plant.
Degenerate plant. All right. What happened? We received what? That spiritual dementia. The Most High gave us a diagnosis of spiritual dementia. Okay. Now, when you go into that term degenerate, according to Etymon, it also means to be away from your birth. All right. To fall from your ancestral lineage, as well as to be unlike one's race or kind. Now, the Most High programmed us, all right, to be what? Kings and priests and things of that nature. But we had to be humble, all right? We had to understand the left hand and we had to understand the right hand in order to be that complete judge. And we had to go through this concept of spiritual dementia in order to do so. All right?
This is Lamentations chapter 4.
You bring it up.
All right, verse 1. It says, how is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how they are esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter. You know, so the men of Israel, you know, at one time were the most valuable men on the earth, man. You know, because you think about, you know, all the things that we brought, you know, to the earth. You know, even going back, you know, to Adam, the sons of God, he named all the animals. There was, you know, order. You know, even going back to Abraham, what they call them, the shepherd kings. You know, they pretty much brought, you know, agriculture, you know, to these different dynasties.
Yeah, the so-called Hyksos.
Yep.
Went into Egypt.
Yeah, so that was very precious. That's a valuable thing. So the sons of Israel, the sons of God, were very valuable in the earth. But now you look at us today, you know, overall, you look at our people getting with the men, they're dim. You know, Jake can barely change the tire. You know, Jake is degenerate. You see, but that goes to what? That spiritual dimension. We were detached from that legacy of greatness. You know, through a process of prophecy, man.
I got a quick one. Jeremiah 17:4, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee.
Break that down, man.
Now you go into the word heritage, all right, it ultimately goes back to the word heir. Just how an heir will inherit an estate from his father, all right, we are heirs to our laws, statutes, and commandments. So a heritage is really customs passed down from your forefathers. Going back to degenerate, deviating from or straying from the ways of your ancestors, all right, we've strayed from the laws, statutes, and commandments of our ancestors. So we came over here to America, all right, we forgot our customs, our traditions, our laws that upheld us as a people, man. And when I say we, I have to expound the southern and the northern kingdom.
That's right, bro.
Because the northern kingdom came over here to keep the laws, but they degenerated.
That's right.
They degenerated from the laws of the Most High too.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Because they weren't like that during the time of King Solomon.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know.
That's right.
But just to land back, us discontinuing from our heritage, like the Zaquan was going into, it's not just us discontinuing from the land. Because you know, No Class Malone said that, you know, basically the heritage, just talking about our inheritance, the land, but you can't separate the people not only from the land without separating them from their culture too.
Well, if I could just add right quick, that's why they have parades in America. African Heritage Parade, a Puerto Rican Heritage Parade, celebrating different. They're here in America. They're not in their land. But what is it they're celebrating? Their way.
Their way.
Their way.
Yeah.
So they have the uniforms of their forefathers. You know, they'll play the music that their forefathers played, man.
You notice they all got those different banners, those flags.
There's those different flags. That's what a heritage is. It's not really a land per se. It's the customs of the people, man.
That's right.
That's right.
You know?
Which goes into that term spiritual dementia.
Yeah.
Because, you know, from a spiritual standpoint, you know, we became demented away from our mind, but it was manifested within the flesh. We became Negroes, Hispanics, all right, North American Indians, all right, and we believed in everything this so-called white man gave us through the ways of his philosophies, man. We were indoctrinated. And that's more proof on how further we became separated from our heritage.
I got a quote that proves this is Deuteronomy 6:1. It says, now these are the commandments, the statutes and judgments which the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, your power commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither you go to possess it, that thou mightest fear the Lord Yahweh, thy power, to keep all his statutes and his commandments which I command
And
thee.
if I could just add, and that's how you walk with Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. When it talks about, hey, since we're on that, get Genesis 5:24.
Enoch.
Yeah, how did Enoch walk with Yahweh Bashem Yahushua? And most importantly, how did Yahushua walk with his father Yahweh?
That's right.
Read that back, bro.
And it says that thou mightest fear the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, thy power, to keep all his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's son,
That's it.
all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged.
So when you do this through that process of passing on from your son to his sons, this is setting up what? Our customs, setting up our culture.
That's your heritage.
Culture, which is our heritage, man.
Heritage goes back to inheritance. You're inheriting the customs of your ancestors.
Not only the land.
And not only the land,
Hey,
man.
bro, that's real generational wealth.
That's real
belief
generational
system,
wealth.
man. Your ways, man.
Yeah.
That's why even amongst our brother Gad, they have elders amongst their people.
That's right.
And they'll tell you, man, that their elder is like a reservoir of wealth, of knowledge. Just imagine thousands of years of information. That's how those gurus over there in India, they know so much about herbs.
Yeah.
They got thousands of years of information about the earth being passed down from descendant to descendant, man.
That's right.
Form of circulation.
Form of circulation, man.
Called the medicine men.
The medicine men,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
It's put up on Genesis 5:2.
And it's Genesis 5:24. And he not walked with the Most High.
And the brother Yash just gave you an example, all right, which is actually going into a mannerism of life. Your code of conduct, your code of conduct, man. Go ahead, bro.
He was not, for the Most High took him.
Mm-hmm. All right,
Bible shot real quick. Can you get 10 and 12? You do around.
Do it on 10, 12.
Yeah, get it for the brother.
you can break it down.
Alright, this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. And it says, and now Israel, what doth the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai thy power require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Right. So, I mean, just lay on back, and I mean, that's it. Pretty self-explanatory, walking in his ways, man. And this was before the flood era, you know, because it was passed down orally, man. They even showed you that, and you know, the documentary you watched, you know, the Days of Noah, part 1, the flood. You know, everyone basically knew about the commandments; they had knowledge of it, you know. But the sons of God are the ones that kept it,
That's right.
you know.
That's right.
That's right.
But dealing with the topic about spiritual notebook, real quick, I'm gonna get Baruch 2 and 30. Want to get it? You get it? I get it.
Break it down.
All right.
You can break it down.
All right. Baruch chapter 2 verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves.
And that's what we're doing today. Cause we're still in our land. We still in our captivity. In the land which how about shot scatter us into. So now we are remembering ourselves. We going and how we remembering ourselves. Start with the apostles and elder GMS that taught us. You know, we didn't know nothing about nothing. But you know, it's all through the spirit. How about shot that stuck with us, you know, to learn the name. He gonna say it, you know, when you read the name.
All right. Baruch chapter 2 verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves, and shall know that I am Yahweh their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. And they shall praise me.
If I could just add, and that's what was so credible about the notebook. That lady, all right, started to remember herself. The more her husband will read the notebook to her, and it's the same thing. Once you have been enlightened by the word, we start to remember ourselves more and more and more. All right, that's still hardness. What is that? That's really going into that spiritual dimension. All right, because if you're still hard, but you're hard-headed. But the reason why you're hard-headed, why? Because you don't really know who you are prior to you being enlightened.
I can make a point, Priest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, it's like suffering from amnesia. You know,
Yep.
you suffer from amnesia. You know, you black out, then you wake up and you forget everything. You know, you may be, well, in the case of us being the Lord's bride, you know, we forgot our husband's name.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
And when you got dementia or you know, Alzheimer's or amnesia, what do the doctors do to try to get that memory back? They put you in a familiar setting, you know, somewhere you know been before, you know, to try to, you know, revamp that memory. That's why when you read the scriptures, you're really coming from me, like these men act like our people. Like the men in the Bible, they act like our people. Like when they said, "Well, your house shot," oh, that's Joseph's son. You know, that's how Jacob. Yeah, that's something Jacob say.
Yeah.
You know.
But even when they mock your house shot, it's like prophesy who slapped you.
Yeah.
I saw that being Jake.
Yeah.
You know.
So you see the characters in the Bible, and you seeing like what Caiaphas say. Look, if this man, if they believe on him, the Romans gonna come take away our place. And you can see T.D. Jason there, these guys that have these status, Creflo Dollar. You can see them saying that they believe on these little kids on the corner. You know, the Romans or the higher ups, the government gonna come take our place.
That's it.
You know.
And the Most High is so cold because we broke the law, statutes, and the commandments. Hey, can I get Deuteronomy? Get Deuteronomy 28 and 15, bro. Because Deuteronomy 28 and 15 wrote Jeremiah 17 before. Now, if you know anything about dementia, what happens? First and foremost, the short-term memory leaves. So how did the Most High strike us by removing us from that land? Then your long-term memory go. So as we became scattered throughout the four corners of the world, we became indoctrinated by these other nations, and we lost our fucking long-term memory, names, all right, who we are, you know, and things of that nature. So it started with the short-term memory, and then it led into the long-term memory, spiritual dementia.
And that's why the scriptures are very repetitive too. You know, we go with a lot of stuff repetitive too. The scriptures like it might say something here, but it might go check over and gonna say the same thing over and over.
You know why?
Very repetitive.
Because the Most High is trying to condition us, you know, reprogram us.
Yep.
That's why you do it over and over and over, because what is repetition? Like the Apostle Bar break down, follow skill.
It's like learn how to walk again.
Yeah.
You know, somebody learn how to walk, you gotta practice every day.
That's it.
Every day, man.
That's it.
Right? That's like
You gotta
that's just like right hand spiritual brainwashing.
That's
You
it.
know what I'm saying? Like he saw do it on the left hand side, get the people follow his agenda.
Mhm.
So how about you try to do it to us on the right hand side?
make it like what you going to MK Ultra.
MK Ultra.
You shatter.
Control.
Yeah. Cause really like that slavery was so traumatic. Like it shattered our
Our brain.
Yeah.
Our mind.
Trauma.
it's
Our
trauma.
mind, yeah.
And then Most High started putting them pieces back together how he wanted to. They were like a righteous MK Ultra.
Most High still gonna wound us like an enemy.
Yeah.
You know, that wound going to a generational trauma.
Said that, you know.
And you know, if I can just make this quick point, you know, like when you have that trauma, right? Some like dementia.
Yeah.
Sometimes you there, and sometimes you not.
Mhm.
Like you could tell this to your people. Sometimes when people be like, yeah, I know we're the chosen.
Yeah.
You know, I know Jesus is black.
That's right.
But then they turn around and go to church. It's like they be in and out of it. You know what I mean? Blacking out.
They forget about the scripture. That's the short-term memory.
Yup.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just real quick, just prove this
Go
that
ahead.
the righteous MK Ultra. It's Hosea 6:1. Come and let us return unto the Lord Yahweh by Shema Shai. For he have torn and he will heal us.
Ooh.
He have smitten
Hey.
and he will bind us up.
Torn, healed, smitten, and bind us up. Like the brother said, that's putting our minds back together from that emotional trauma, man.
Dry bones, man.
God,
That
damn.
fractured state.
That fractured state, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry, brother. No, because when your mind is fractured, it's like a shattered glass.
Yeah.
When you put the glass back together, you see your reflection.
Mhm.
You know?
And see, through MK Ultra, that's how Esau programs these different personalities.
Yeah.
You know, he breaks your mind, and then he programmed that piece to act like this. He programmed that piece to act like that.
Okay, nigga
That's why
culture.
you have that split personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, them alter
The
egos. and
alter
shit.
egos.
And he has some trigger words too.
That's right, bro. All right. Get your dad.
Come.
This Isaiah 3 and 8. And it says, for Jerusalem is ruined and Judah is fallen.
Because
Because,
I want to break it down, jump in.
you know, as it says in Jeremiah 50, the children of Judah, children of Israel should, suffer oppression together. You know what I'm saying? Linking up with biblical prophecy. You think about, I did a video a while back on my health channel. It was going to like the health benefits of music. And they were showing like people who had Alzheimer's and how it was a doctor pretty much, he was promoting about playing violins into the hospital. And that's how the Most High did us through the Spirit, man. We started hearing that beautiful music, you know, this new song, going to this truth. And the more you start hearing that beautiful song, the more you start coming to remembrance.
It's spiritual too, because Esau knew when he fractured our minds and when he broke us as a people, you know, he did a similar thing, but to throw us off. You know, with the You know, the rap music, you know, gangster rap in particular, you know, putting out certain wicked vibrations. Recently, the other brother, Yashwamba, he had did a vid showing how Thug and Diva basically go back to, you know, Hindu culture, you know, certain Eastern cultures. And that's the vibe they put on Jake. You know, what the Lord did with us with the new song, he got us out of it.
That's right.
And who came over that fucking thug shit? The father of black
Pac.
culture, Tupac.
which was going back to that definition, that word in was it the book of Isaiah, like how they have cast nets in front of us.
That's right. Oh,
But if you go into the word nets, it was leaders set up for you to follow.
That's it.
You know, and Tupac is one of those nets.
Yeah, and the music is a big part of it.
Yep.
You know, because a point you had made a while back, that one movie, Lords of Salem, how they was playing that demonic music and, you know, caused all the women to act crazy.
Every time they play this particular song, all the women of Salem would be enchanted. They'd be under a spell.
And where did they get this concept from? When King Saul, it's like when King David utilized the harp to remove that evil spirit from Saul. Now Esau is witty enough to understand that, okay, now if music can take demons off people, then it can place demons on people. And that's the reason why this music is so demonic and perverted.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to this for you, and I got something else too. All right, back in Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30 again. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. Well, I'm gonna just read this. I'm gonna get definition. All right, this is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. Now, for that word stir up, those words stir up.
1326. Diakaido.
All right, now it means to wake up, awaken, arouse from sleep.
Out of that spiritual demented state. Remember, dementia means to be away from your mind. So once you wake back up, what? You're back in that right mindset. Go ahead, brother.
Isaiah 52:1. Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful
Now, what's
garments.
the strength? What's the beautiful garments? It's holy truth. All right, and it's white. Go ahead,
O
brother.
Jerusalem, the holy city.
Which also, for all these dumb dogs, which is also nothing but symbolic talk for purity.
The holy city, for henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and unclean.
Right, but it starts with the process of what being born again. And the reason why the notebook was open, why? The revelation of
It says awake, awake. Say it twice because of the urgency.
Yeah.
You know.
Because the sentence, Most High sent us to a penal colony. He sent all 12 tribes to a penal colony. A penal colony is where a group of people go to serve out a prison sentence. But now that he's about to free you, he's about to destroy that penal colony. So that's why it's like awake, awake, remember who you are. But like that first Egypt, now you gotta leave in haste. In the spirit you have to leave.
And when you say awake, awake, like the brother Yasha said, when you waking somebody, you're like, awake, awake.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't like, hey, awake.
You ain't wake up.
Wait, no, it's a sense of urgency.
Yeah. You agitated.
Yeah. Get that revelation about that makes sense.
Like this Revelation 5:5.
Agitated.
And one of the elders said to me, weep not, behold, the line of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof.
It's the book again. It's no book. All right. And the reason why, because Yahweh Shai, became their beautiful ultimate sacrifice. And guess what? Within this protocol, the scriptures was open. All right. And then because of the scriptures being open, what happened? That spiritual dementia left because we were able to remember ourselves. Going back into what you just brought up, awake, awake. But it started with this concept. Yahweh Shai had to do his duty, and therefore the Holy Spirit was actually released from the spiritual world. Okay?
That's why that movie, Lion King, was so, what's the name? Rafiki. What's the name? Yeah, he hit him in the head. You know, he had to wake your ass up. What's wrong with you?
So let me ask you a question. When you hit him, did he dust come on? Well, if it didn't, because once you hit somebody, you come out that confused state. Confusion is the dust. All All right, the dust is what? Spiritual dementia.
And that staff represents the scriptures.
Yeah.
Thy rod and thy staff shall
Yeah.
comfort
Yeah.
me.
Damn.
Like,
He said, then look what symbol was it. He was amongst the beasts in the wild.
He was a Gentile. He turned to a Gentile.
Wild olive branch.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And then what was the way of the heathen? What
oh yeah, eat all the unclean food.
yeah, Shakuna Matata. It means no word.
Yeah.
That YOLO spirit.
Do what thou wilt.
Yep.
Yep. And then, because what did King David said, I was like a beast before thee.
That's right. That's right.
Oh.
That's right.
So back to Isaiah 52:2, it said, "Shake thyself from the dust."
Mhm.
Going to that state of confusion.
What
Because when
Mufasa-
you're demented, oh my bad.
No, I was gonna say Mufasa said, remember who you are.
Remember,
son."
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's father.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about it. When you're actually spiritual demented, you're confused. You know, you don't know who you are. You don't remember nothing. You don't remember nothing from the short term. You don't remember nothing from the long term. Us being Israelites, because of this confusion, this dust. But Yahushua was that spiritual pledge that wiped our minds clean. Got that dust off our mindset. Okay. Y'all got,
Yeah, well, just back in the definitions for stir up, which read the rest of them. Now it says of the sea which begins to be agitated to rise. That says a metaphor to arouse the mind.
That made us change our whole life, man. You know, that was like they say, it's a game changer, man. The Holy Spirit was a game changer for the elect, man. You see, He changed our whole outlook on everything, man. You got it, bro.
In 2 Peter 1:19, we have also a more sure word of prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
Whereunto ye do well that ye take heed as unto a light that shine in the dark.
And say we have a more sure word of prophecy, because now everything that's in the book is now in place. Because even back then when you had the New Testament being, scribed, all right, those epistles being wrote, all right, they didn't know about the RFID technology. They didn't know about the arrows in Jeremiah. They didn't know what that meant. You see, there's a lot of things, the Revelation 17, 18, they didn't have the full breakdown, but now we got a sure word of prophecy, man. And we've been aroused in these times, man. You see?
And shining in a dark place until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts.
Yeah.
Reach it. Hey, go ahead.
You got it.
Read that last definition, bro. Hey, go back.
All right, now back in stir up for 2 Peter 3:1. All right, now last two it says to arouse the mind, stir up, render active.
Yeah.
To arouse the mind, stir up, render active. Now, read that 119 towards the Yeah,
It said, but take heed
we're into
whereunto ye do well that ye take heed as unto a light that shine in a dark place.
dark place is your mindset because of this spiritual dementia. The light is who? Yahushua, also known as the day star. And what does the day star do? It brings light. So Yahushua brought light to the hopeful elect. Man, this thing is real. Tell me this thing ain't real, man.
Hey, it's like He said, like in the beginning, let there be light.
Oh, my
Be like,
Everything said, it took it back to the
Yeah.
beginning, man. Let there be light in darkness, man.
yep.
And guess what? When our grandmother had dementia, guess what the doctor said? When they looked at her brain, it's like a room without any lights. Now, Yahushua came and gave us that spiritual light, and we have been enlightened, and now we are out of that confused state of spiritual dementia. Just like that.
And going back to the movie Rise of the Planet of the Apes, the chemical genesis.
Uh-huh.
Where Genesis may begin, and Caesar was locked up with the rest of the apes while they was asleep. He unleashed that chemical. It came out. That spiritual inspiration came out upon those apes. And when they woke up the next morning, they was in a whole different mindset.
It's spirit, because the elder brother Harold Wong from the Alabama camp, he was doing a vid going into the perfecting of the elect. I forget the title of the video, but it was going to how, basically the Lord started us off with just the seed, which is the word, But that's our beginning, your foundation, and we're gonna be finished, you know, when the Lord comes. But it all started with the seed, you know.
Yeah, I got Malachi.
Okay, well,
So, yeah, I don't know if I got this already. Malachi 3:16. Then they that fear Yahweh spake often one to another. And Yahweh hearkened it and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him.
a book of remembrance, the
Yeah.
notebook.
Yeah.
Who's the woman? The hopeful elect. All right? Because at the end of the day, it's about the hopeful elect, and then the 2/3 they come later in the kingdom of heaven. Only the hopeful elect will actually receive this engrafted word. Point blank, period. All right, this is the only sector out of the nation of Israel that will come out of that spiritual dimension. Go ahead, bro.
And a book of remembrance was written before him for them.
So, because of this notebook, this book of remembrance, what happened? Through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Shai, we regain our short-term memory and we regain our long-term memory.
All right, for them that fear Yahweh, and that thought upon his name.
And it goes back to Baruch chapter 2.
In the land of their captivity, so they remember himself and think upon his name.
Think upon that name. And it shows you that the name is key.
That's
You know?
That's a lot. I'm sorry, brother.
Now, I'm just saying the name is key because, you know, a part of us remembering ourselves is us remembering our power.
And it's like that righteous MK Ultra. It's that trigger word. You know, when the brother first broke down the word Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Sodomy, that was my foundation. That was the beginning phase of waking up from that dementia. You know, like you go into the movie Manchurian Candidate. They go into them certain buzzwords, but there's a righteous wake up from that spell. And it's the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai.
Like when they show Al Roker, you know, when they say the Holy Ghost.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That trigger word.
Yeah, the eyes all bugging out. But now, I mean, that shows you that the true understanding is coming now, because no other philosophy ever did this, man. You know, actually show our people who they really are. You know, I mean, you got guys like what's the dude, Louis Farrakhan, which he sold out a long time ago, but he said many times in certain of his speeches that we are the Israelites. But he'll tiptoe around it, man. He'll be like, well, where is it in the book? Who the people of the book? But you only gonna get it, you know, through the spirit from the prophets, man.
And you know, going back to that cover and cast that the brothers brought out, you know, there's this documentary called White Jesus, Racism in the Church of America. And it has this, you know, good and bad, but they basically broke down, like the elders were breaking down, that Esau came up with the concept of race. So part of discontinuing from our heritage was to go from identifying people by their country of origin to identify them by characteristics, physical characteristics. So the white, black, yellow, red, you know, that was a stumbling block to where we came from too.
That shows that that's part of that covering
That
cast.
cover and cast.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah, because what's like Job 9:24, where it speaks about how Esau covers the faces of the judges. Now we know it goes to iconoclasm, you know, but also he did it in the spirit. You know, he like putting that up those other coverings over
Yep.
us. You know?
Black, white, red.
That's right.
This book of Psalm 40:2. It says, he brought me up also out of horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my goings. And he had put a new song in my mouth.
That pit, go back to what this system, you know, that miry clay, really what this the end of what the 10 toes mixed with iron and miry clay. So
The
they
end
tell
of
you the time frame, the system of this beast system, that he would lift us up and put us on that rock, which is who? Yahweh Shai.
There you go.
And then read it again.
He brought me up also, verse 1. The son of David, I waited patiently for Yahweh Bashim Shai, and he inclined unto me and heard my cry.
Yeah, he finally heard the cries of the elect, you know, because you had, you know, Elder Abba Bibbies, they was, you know, because you had the different Jake that was into the Torah, so they were seeking Yahweh Bashim Shai, but see, eventually, the Lord responded and gave their spirit to Elder Abba Bibbies, man, to go into Yahweh Shai. You see?
Verse 2. He brought me up also out of horrible pit, out of the miry clay,
Yeah.
and set my feet upon a rock.
Yeah, so the system, all right, the horrible pit, this is a horrible system.
That's right.
That's why even Elder Apostle Arumla did a video like, you know, the longer we here, you're gonna increase in sorrow, man, because this is a horrible system, man. And we learn more and more and increasing understanding, but we still here, you know? So we in a horrible system.
And a thick clay again, just to add on to the brother, it's also a representation of what? That debt.
Yeah.
That debt.
And they just asked, you know, to raise the debt ceiling, man. You know, go ahead.
Which lets you know that we in slavery.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, slaves. And it says, and set my feet upon a rock and establish my goings. And he had put a new song in my mouth.
Woo. On your house shot, which established what? Our goings.
Nope.
Now, brothers go to camp, brother do lessons, brother research, brother fellowship. Because why? We found on that rock at y'all shot. Now our goings is established,
The
man.
question, so where do we get the song from?
On the scripture.
The notebook.
Yep, the notebook.
That's it, brother.
Yep. That's the lyrics.
That's the hook right there.
Look that up, it's Revelation 14:2. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung it as with a new song before the throne.
Yep.
And before the fourth beast and the elders, and no man could learn that
And the
song.
song is new. It's just been a fresh, or a kainos. It's the same song, man. One truth, one faith, one baptism.
And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth.
And these men have been redeemed, and therefore they are out of that spiritual dimension.
And that proves that the song isn't new because they had it since the beginning.
Amen.
You know,
What is it? Enoch prophesied in your house shot.
10,000 of the saints.
Yeah.
It's the angels.
coming,
Man.
Alright, this is Ezekiel 37
I'm gonna break this down.
and 4. And again, he said to me, prophesy upon these bones. And he said to them, O you dry bones, hear the word of the Most High. Verse 5.
Right, which is our people. Going back to the brothers reading Lamentations, the 4th chapter. You know how did the fine gold become dim in earthen pitchers? Us being this dehydrated estate, man. You know, without the truth.
That's right.
You know, yeah.
Verse 5. Thus said Yahweh to these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter in you, and you should live.
Yeah, and we have it now. That's the Holy Spirit. You know, and we know that this is happening because you know the same thing is written in Revelation the 11th chapter. You know, the Spirit of life from the Most High, and the only way we can receive this is by what Yahweh Shai did for us.
That's it.
That's how we have the notebook, man.
That's it.
You know, what I'm saying now the vision is open. You know what I'm saying?
Now we're moving with a purpose. And if someone with dementia, they can't live a profitable life. You can't trust them to do no job, carry out a task. You know, they just here, coming and going. Just like, you know, the majority of the people on earth, especially the tribes, man, they just here coming and going.
Yeah.
You know, so that breath of life, you know, that attached us back to a pure mind. Now we have a true purpose, man.
That's right. Get Ecclesiastes 38.
That's what Akil Pac said on one of his interviews. He was like, "Man, black people, well, shit, we really just existed. It's like something like on I guess the hierarchy of different people. It was like, well, black people, we just don't have a purpose here. We just existed, you know, which really was the 12 tribes.
Yeah.
You know, it goes to show you like this is really a matrix.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 1. It says, honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which ye may have of him for the
First
Lord.
and foremost, this is actually talking about a physical position. All right, go ahead, bro.
It says, for the Lord hath created him, for of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king.
Right, so of the Most High comes what? Healing. All right, now, this video, the Most High was what? Our physician. And who was the bomb? Yahweh Shai. All right, now, if you know anything about dementia, they have to receive ourselves. It just slows down the process. So Yahweh Shai was more than our spiritual ourselves. He was actually that healing balm. Okay, and because we received that healing balm, which is Yahweh Shai from Yahweh, we became born again and came out of that state of spiritual dimension.
Show me.
We said Malachi, our shall turn, he turns back, shall come with healing.
Oh my God, you gotta get there. Look it up.
Hey, well, before we get there, I gotta
Points.
You got it.
get a scripture for your scripture. All right, Sirach 25. Okay, come on. All right. Sirach 25 and 13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart. Now, the heart is your mind.
That's right.
So the dementia, all right, us not remembering our heritage and where we came from, that was a plague of the mind.
Deuteronomy 28:28. You should smite thee with madness and
Yep.
blindness.
Yep.
How we gonna be groping in noonday?
Yeah, how you gonna grow up in a noonday and it's full of light outside? It's spiritual. You looking for the truth. You trying to figure out where you came from.
You dark up here.
You dark up, no light.
Yep.
You
Cause it's
know?
going into like if you brother Paul Moff made a beautiful point. I listened to the video this morning because he was like, it don't matter your physical attributes of what you have, but once your mind go, you gone.
You gone.
You can be a billionaire, but if your mind go, you gone. You can be a black belt jiu-jitsu. You can have all these different, weaponry and all these different things, but if your mind gone, they don't mean nothing no more. So like that's why Yahweh Shema Shah, said wisdom and knowledge will be the stability. You talking about your mind. Cause we finna see a lot of people bug out that's been prepping carnally, but they ain't been prepping in the spirit. So they gonna lose their mind, so it ain't gonna matter what they done prep. Yeah, you got all you done prepped all this food, but you can't even remember where you stay.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 16, and verse 12. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health, but thy word, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, which healeth all things.
Yeah, because even like, you hear now what's cool amongst Jake now, what's trending now is our people getting therapy. But if you don't get therapy according to this word, you're not going to be healed. Because the therapies of this society, they can only tell you external things and things of this lifetime, that has you like that. But see, it's a spiritual root to our problem, man.
Yeah, and we've done all the physical and economical and the mental things. What we hear based on a spiritual offense.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And they gonna give you medicine for depression or
Put more demons on you.
there you go. Take this
The
here.
same people continue to go back and see the same therapists, and all they do is spike up the milligrams of the medication.
Man, bro. I'm gonna jump 2 verses. It's gonna be it, just because it's going to our points. All right. Verse 10 and 11. But thy sons, not the very teeth of venomous dragons, overcame, for thy mercy was ever by them and healed them. Verse 11. For they were pricked, that they shall remember thy words.
Going back to this system, it said the teeth of dragons, because that was going back in during the time of Egypt. You see, now we in spiritual Egypt, and we in this beast system. We under this dragon empire, man. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, read it again.
But thy sons, not the very teeth of venomous dragons, overcame.
Not the very teeth of venomous dragons, man. The serpent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see?
Who do we look upon? That brass
Yep,
serpent, which
yep.
was what? Yahweh
Yeah,
Shah.
shot. Yeah.
For thy mercy was ever by them and healed them.
Mm-hmm.
For they were pricked, that they shall remember thy words.
Hey, they pricked so we can remember our words, man. This word pricked us. Hey, cause we were cut. We came to camp. We came to camp with a line, bacon still in the refrigerator. So when we heard this word, we was pricked.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah, bro.
When you think about that prick, it's like a cut, you know what I'm saying? A spiritual cut. You think about Ezekiel, the 9th chapter.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? With the mark, you know what I'm saying? Which is a sign of exemption.
Yeah, it's a spiritual engraving.
See, that's what the bullshit in America was about. That was supposed to push us to look for us like an answer. That was to push us to the Most High. You know?
I'm finish it out. It says, but they were pricked, that they should remember thy words, and were quickly saved, that not falling into deep forgetfulness.
Dementia, short term, long term. And once you lose that, hey, that's deep forgetfulness.
they might be continually mindful of thy goodness. That's it.
Hey, it's heavy. I'm just gonna close it out with this. Sirach 10:10. The physician cutteth off a long disease, and he that is today a king tomorrow, and he that is today a king tomorrow shall die. But the physician being Yahushai, what is that long disease? That spiritual dementia. Hey, that was, what we talking about? 400 years?
400 years.
That's a long disease if you want to go back to 70 AD.
That's it.
You know, we're talking about what? 2,000 years down there. So a long disease, man. That plague of the heart, that dementia of not knowing where we came from. Yahushua cut out that long disease, bridging the gap between the northern and the southern kingdom. You know, going back to that stick joining together, man.
And he's also known as what? The Prince of Peace.
The Prince of Peace, man.
Breaking down that middle wall of partition
Yeah.
between the tribes.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
It showed the duality because it said the physician, you know, he cut it off a long disease, you know, and then he said he that's a king today, you know, is not tomorrow.
Yeah.
Speaking of who, Esau, Edom
That's
now.
right.
Hey,
That's
because what the scripture say in Psalms, how he will set us in order. He said he gonna reprove thee, but I'm gonna set them in order in front of your eyes, man.
I'm going to build up a kingdom right in front of you.
Yeah.
You know? And therefore I should raise up the tabernacle of David. You know?
Hey, all praises to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakudash.
Double honor to the apostles, the elders, salutations to you, sincere brothers, teaching in truth and in sincerity, and Lord willing, you were edified.
Shalom.
Water.
I'm telling you.
What? The physician cut off a disease.